everybody, Scott for Angry Badger Minis. Welcome back. We are still working on Space Wolves. However, we're almost done. Okay. If you missed the other video, we found a bunch more Space Wolves that apparently I had that I wasn't aware of. I mean, I was aware of them. I just forgot that I put them in the box and then put those boxes in a place that I wouldn't forget them. But of course, I forgot them. Anyway. That being said, we have 20 Terminators that are left to do, and that is finally it for the infantry. And unless I want to do little here and there things later on, that will be it. The rest of them, the other what was it, 40 or 50 Space Wolves, Gray Hunters, and Blood Claws, they are all done and sitting in the glass DTOF display case. With everything else, we upgraded our 2 Blood Claw squads from 10 to 15 because you can, and we have 4 long fang squads now of 5 people each, 5 long fangs each. And we have another 3 10-man Gray Hunter squads. So, excuse me. Needless to say, we got a lot of infantry. Now, it may seem like I'm dragging my feet on this one. I am a little bit, even though I'm going to go ahead and finish these up tonight. Reason being is I'm still waiting for Games Workshop to send me my Space Wolf, pauldrons, the chapter upgrades. They're still not here. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm hoping that they will be here either this weekend or first of the week next week. It's not normal for that to be, so again, I'm not exactly sure why they're not here yet. I did check the order status, and they were supposedly, all set to whatever, but it is what it is. Also, I found this on eBay. Literally brand new in the box. The box is brand new, which presents a problem for me because I'm a collector. And while I'm not collecting this to say, oh, I could sell this, for hundreds of thousands of dollars later on or anything like that, the problem is, here it is in its box, as if I could have got it, just like the ones that'll be coming from McFarlane Studios, the sister of Battle and stuff. And so for me, it's like, do I really want to break it out? Well, of course I do, because I want to be able to paint it later. But if you take a look at, this bad boy right here, I already have one. I mean, it's an impressive, impressive thing to begin with. And of course, who wouldn't want to have, a couple of these guys standing around. Let me see if I can put this light down a hair. It's kind of blinding me. Alright. So anyway, yeah, we're working on these Terminators, and the way we're going to break this down is we're going to have 2 assault squads. I've kind of done a lot of the heavy lifting, gluing portion already, just to get it out of the way. So hopefully we won't have to spend too much time on it. And one of these squads is, it doesn't really matter. And yes, my little man is keeping me up. But one of these squads will end up being stripped of their base, well before I put it together, and then put on the Space Wolf, good grief, the Space Hulk bases that go with my board game. It doesn't mean that I can't use them if I absolutely had to have them. I just have to make sure that both Deathwing, Blood Angels, Black Templars, Space Wolves, whatever else I decide to do, that I'm going to actually, base them out accordingly. Also, I'm going to be giving away my Death Watch Terminators that I've showed you guys that are already magnetized and everything like that away to my wife, because she likes the color scheme that I did, and again, because my painting has evolved leaps and bounds, if you will, it's not good enough for me. So rather than let me strip them down and repaint them, she says just give them to her, and you know, if we have to, we'll buy another squad or whatever. I do have 2 squads of Terminators for the Death Watch army, but excuse me, I don't think that's going to cut it. So, but I believe I have enough extra Terminators, if you will, that I won't have to buy anymore. I can just use the chapter upgrades and stuff that I already possess. So anyway, with that being said, what I'm doing at the moment right now is I am putting together the shields and whatnot for the assault guys, assault Terminators. It's interesting. I mean, mind you, I have whatever Space Wolf Codex I have. It's interesting how they wrote it in there about how anyone can change, you know, and go from whatever list. And I mean, it's kind of, I guess it just saved them from having to put one, you know, another entry down, so to speak, I guess, in the codex. But anyway, this is what we're working on, and that's kind of, you know, the steps that we're taking as far as the rest of the army is concerned. It looks like I'm going to just, when this is done, even if Games Workshop stuff is not here, I'm just going to go ahead and roll right on into putting my Death Watch army together, which isn't much at all. You know, I mean, they don't really they wouldn't really be a humongous army to begin with lore-wise, and they don't really lend themselves to being that way, in my understanding. And I think they've changed actually drastically in 9th edition. So, but we have been steadily working on this every night. I just, like yesterday, I'll tell you, man, I had a real time with one model, a missile launcher Space Marine. I couldn't get that thing to glue no matter, I mean, it took a couple of hours, and I don't know what the problem was. I don't know if it was the plastic. I don't know if there was some kind of, you know, mold release agent that got inside the plastic, or whatever the heck it is. But I mean, I was sanding, I was, you know, drying off, re-gluing. I mean, just constantly for one stinking model. It was crazy. But we accomplished it, and you know, it's all over with now. So crisis averted. No more Angry Badger, and yeah. Also, I hope you guys are enjoying the Deathwing episodes. I am not doing one tonight because I do want to focus on getting this done. I may do some Dawn of War later because I really enjoy that game and I'd like to get into it. I also downloaded for free the Steam version, so any of you that are out there that happen to have the Game of the Year, you know, Steam version, if you would, you know, ever like to play, we can figure it out and we can play online. I also downloaded on my PlayStation Space Hulk Tactics. Now, I'm not real savvy with that game as far as understanding it, so I'm planning on actually, you know, looking into that. I mean, I'm kind of excited, but I mean, it's also, you know, the basic Space Hulk game, which I've never ever been able to force myself to play, short of the first mission, and that was on 2nd edition of Space Hulk. Even though I have 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 copies of the game, I got them for the models. Obviously, the 3rd edition Space Hulk, you know, tile set and everything are beautiful. I mean, great pictures, or you know, prints or whatever. You know, they're shiny and all that kind of stuff. You know, and everybody loves shiny stuff. But you know, the blips are amazing. I like those, and those I do, you know, actually use in my own, you know, homebrew Space Hulk game, which I've committed to once I'm done with putting together these models. Not all the terrain, but I mean all of my actual armies aside from my Krieg Death Corps, and probably even my Knights, just because I want to be able to do them in a different way. I am going to attack the Space Hulk board again, meaning that there's going to be I'm going to repaint what I have that's already painted. I'm going to add some things, possibly not a whole lot, but we'll be doing that, you know, hopefully on the video, so you guys can see what we're up to, so that way we at least have, you know, that set going, and then we can get some actual game footage going as well. So I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you guys are too. And sorry, my hands aren't even on the screen here. Let's see. Don't see it. I'm over here leaning back in my chair, and you guys aren't even seeing what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about the progress I've made. And I figured, you know, Space Hulk Deathwing would be a nice little, you know, break, if you will, but still keep me in the lore, you know, and in the realm of what I enjoy with Warhammer. And I watched some videos today when I had a little bit of spare time, which was interesting. There's some videos out there from some folks who used to work for Games Workshop, and while I've never worked for them, I did almost have an opportunity to leave the military back in 98 or 99, something like that, and before I re-enlisted. And I would have, it's interesting, I think they were growing or expanding or whatever they were doing. Oh gosh, I just broke that off. But anyway, I thought, you know, like most people probably, you know, man, wouldn't it be neat to work for the same people, you know, that I'm, you know, enjoying this hobby and everything on. And I know, don't ever do anything you love, you know, you end up hating it, that kind of thing. But what ended up, what they offered me after I sent them the resume, just out of curiosity, was that they were going to pay for me. At the time I was at home living on leave in Georgia in the US, and I was actually stationed in Okinawa, Japan. But they had offered to, you know, move me to Texas and to be a store manager and open up, you know, a brand new store there, having never worked there before. Now, it wasn't that, you know, I was completely, you know, new to what they really needed, you know, as far as store, you know, as far as, we'll just say, management, you know, small unit leadership, you know, that kind of stuff is, you know, been my forte. But I didn't, you know, everything told me this is not a good idea. Just stick with what you're doing, and you know, and roll with it. You know, maybe when you're done and retired, you can go be the old man in a shop or something. I don't know, but needless to say, that's not happening either. But I was watching these videos, and they were people who had worked for Games Workshop for some time, and some of them had, you know, become managers and stuff like that. And it was very telling, and, you know, I would encourage any of you that ever think about doing that, I would definitely seek out, you know, what was it like to work at Games Workshop, or working at Games Workshop, something like that, and listen to what these guys have to say. Everything from bad management, you know, in a store, if they happen to be the, you know, the part-time help or you know, non-manager staff, to having their own shop and being the single and only person in the shop, you know, every day, and having to meet, you know, numbers, quotas, and things like that, as far as, you know, fiscal or financial numbers, and not making them. And what happened, you know, like the turn from once they were, you know, selected to become a manager or something like that, how it seemed like they were just, you know, one of the mafia, if you will. You know, they just got made to, I don't know, maybe it wasn't, let's see, I see that we had a small buffering issue. I'm not sure what happened there, but anyway, one, as I was saying, you know, you had management, you know, issues, and you know, if you were staff or whatever. But the biggest thing to take away from this was, again, when they became or were selected, you know, to be a manager, and you know, after everything kind of fell through, was there's a process, I guess, and maybe this wasn't how it was back then when, you know, I almost became one, who knows, but there's a process where just because you're, you know, a manager doesn't mean you don't have to re-interview for your job, is the way that I took it. And that to me was like, wow, man, are you serious? They're gonna make you do that every year or whatever it is? That's ridiculous. So I mean, I'm not even sure what the incentive would be to try, you know. But anyway, it was an eye-opener for me today, listening to all of that. So all right, so we've got those done. We've got all of our thunder hammers ready to go. Let's see here. There's some trimming I could do on here, but I'm let's see. Hold on a second. My attack squig is trying to come in here and play. Hey, out. Go on. She can get pretty noisy. So anyway, yeah, just a little bit of trimming to do, but I'm more apt to just kind of bypass that till we're ready to start painting. And I'll tell you, I'm really excited about finally painting this stuff. I went to my local my local hardware store, and picked up a bunch of swatches, paint swatches. And man, I mean, I don't know if you remember me or if you're new to the channel. If you didn't hear what I had to say about this, you can go to your Home Depot store, Lowe's, whatever hardware store, and if they've got, you know, any type of, you know, basic paint selection, acrylic, they can do acrylic and acrylic primers, whatever. They can make just about any color you need, and then all it takes for you to use that is to thin it down. If you take a look at my first video, and you'll see where the Adeptus Titanicus Titan is not quite finished. If you take a look at that green that's on there, that's literally acrylic paint from Lowe's. It's not Citadel, it's not Army Paint or anything like that. It's just straight up paint that I got from the hardware shop, put it in little dropper bottles, thinned it out when I was doing what I was doing, and ran it through my airbrush, no problem. And I mean, when I say that the value is great, I'm talking like the tub is about like this big around by, you know, from top to bottom by about that big. And I'll show it to you guys sometime, you know, once we start to paint, because obviously I'm gonna have to use that, or I'm gonna be getting back to it. So remind me, you know. But I mean, there's definitely value in the ability to use the same stuff. You know, you can thin it, you can, you know, water it down, you can put paint thinner and flow improver in it, whatever it is you need to do, but it works just as good. You have, in my opinion, a broader range of colors at your disposal, and they can make them pretty fast. Doesn't take long at all. Let's see here, and it's not expensive. And that jar of paint right there, or tub, whatever you want to call it, will probably last me the rest of my life, unless I come to terms with making some kind of, actually I might even use them for my Death Guard, so maybe not, I don't know. That Death Guard army is massive, so who knows. Alright, so what I need to do now is I need to go ahead and put, at least for 2 of these guys, because I'm going to have to come back and get the arms that I need for these sergeants, if you will, or the leaders of these Wolf Guard Terminators. And what I mean by that is there's a piece that goes on top that has drapage of the pelt, and I need to make sure that I have the arm on there first, along with the Terminator honors, and then hopefully it's going to fit just like I need it to. If you guys remember from a previous video with the Space Wolves, these Terminator cloaks, they're heavy. They're super heavy for trying to glue on the one spot that it's, you know, that it connects on the back. It's crazy. It's not impossible, but it's not, you know, enjoyable either. So, all right. And each of my sergeants here have a specific arm that I'm using to try to get the shield out and away from everything, so that way I don't lose the detail of the pelt as well as the shield and everything else. My whole goal with this arm, well actually all the armies, is to put as much detail and contrast into them that you can enjoy every part of the model. That being said, I am going to be doing, you know, zenithal highlights and stuff like that, you know, at the onset, so that way I can make sure that, you know, your attention is drawn where I want it to be. And of course, you know, I'll explain how I'm doing all of that when I get there. Obviously, I'm not going to put a lot of attention in the underbelly of stuff. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, but you know, we'll get there. I mean, again, the light is coming, you know, in my opinion, the light's going to be coming from, you know, one specific area. Now, when it comes to the Space Hulk stuff, like the one I showed you guys a long time ago, in my opinion, that light is mainly going to, the focus of the attention and light will be from the front, you know, the front of the model here, where it'll be a lot darker in the back. And that's to give it that, you know, look inside the spaceship, whether you're fighting Gene Stealers or heretics or whatever the heck it is you're fighting. You know, rebels, chaos, Necrons. And with that Space Hulk board set, I'm also planning on doing scatter terrain, if you will, to the point that I can, wait a minute, I'm missing a shoulder pad here, or 2 or 3 or 4. What the heck's going on here? There's Terminator on there. Yeah, I'm definitely missing a shoulder pad. Space Wolf shoulder pad. Oh, they're over here. Okay. Anyway, what I was gonna say was, actually, I'm still missing one, aren't I? Yes, I am, because we've got, should have 4 sergeants, so yep, we're still missing one. Maybe I didn't cut it off. We've got 4 of the Terminator honors that we need, because they're the only ones that fit under that cloak, which is unfortunate too. I mean, would have been nice if I could have put a more flashy Terminator pauldron, you know, Terminator honor pauldron on there, but it's just not the way GW designed it, I guess. Let's see here. Maybe it's over here somewhere. All of these off. Okay. Anyway, what the heck was I talking about? Oh, I think I was talking about scatter terrain and everything for the got this one, but that's not the one I'm looking for. For the Space Hulk. That way I can essentially make it a modular game board in addition to it being modular. So it can be whatever type of ship that I want, you know. The biggest test factor for that will be the Necrons, because most of the piping and everything like that in there will probably have to be covered up in some regard. Basically panels that will go over everything, because obviously the Necrons aren't going to have that kind of, you know, what am I trying to say? Their technology is obviously more advanced. So their, you know, their ships or whatever, you know, corridors and things like that will be a lot more clean than, say, an Imperial, you know, ship. It's just the way it is, you know. All right, well, that's unfortunate. I know we have another one around somewhere. Let me check my bits here. One of many different boxes. Got an entire set of Terminator stuff here. But yeah, I mean this is it for the infantry. Well, it's it for everything except for putting those shoulder pads on, which, like I said, unfortunately Games Workshop has it's not here. And again, I have no idea why. It's I have no concept as to why my shipment is late. And unfortunately, it kind of is putting me behind. But it's not going to stop me from moving on. I mean, it's nothing I can't put on later. It's, you know, and I mean, that's going to be well over, we'll see. It's probably going to be close to 120, no, I'm sorry. I don't know, 140, maybe 150 models that all have to have one shoulder pad ripped off and the other one put back on. So, well, I know we have this here somewhere, but I'll be darned if I know where it's at. I could dump this out, but I don't feel like it right now. Anyway, we're gonna get these guys going here. I'm gonna sit here and bore you guys to death looking for bits. Maybe it'll turn up. Okay, so those guys are good to go. Let's get their stuff on here. I just need to trim up this one side here. I won't have to trim up the back because you can't even see it. And that's, you know, it's just one of those things. I know that a lot of the stuff I haven't trimmed up to any real standard. With these Terminators I did just because I was sitting around watching, you know, basically a show or whatever, and it didn't really bother me to do so. Or maybe I just fell into the habit of doing it, you know, like we should be. So, anyway, so let's get some glue on here, and hopefully everything is going to sit just like it's supposed to. That looks like a relatively tight fit, which I'm not happy about because I glued that pretty solidly. Oh man, it's getting stuck on his shield. What are you doing here? There goes that. Alright, well, and if that's the case, we're just going to go ahead and glue it on his arm, and then we'll glue the arm back on. Don't know if that's going to be the same case on the other side, but I love when things just slip out of your fingers like that, you know? There wasn't really that much glue on here anyway to begin with. Fix that. Alright, that works for now. Until the, yeah, looks like we're gonna have to do the same thing here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and see if I can't just pull that off without and if you don't have one of these screwdrivers, little tiny, you know, Phillips, I'm sorry, flathead screwdriver or standard, get yourself one, because sometimes you can, you know, if you have this problem, rather than yanking on your model and, you know, bending everything, you can fit it up underneath a groove where nobody's going to see anything and just pop it right off, you know what I mean? And then you don't end up stretching, tearing, or ruining your model. So, let me go ahead and get this glued on there. I'll come back and trim it. I want to get that glued on. Alright, I'm going to let that sit for a second. Let's see. I'm going to dry fit this cloak, I'm sorry, the rest of this pelt on here. And the biggest problem I had last time was this, the leg part of the pelt that would come over. You glue it on the inside like it's supposed to go, but that's not how it wants to fit. So it's kind of a pain, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Because if you match it up like it's supposed to, you shouldn't have a problem. But again, that is not what's going on, and I'm having the same issue right now. So what looks like I'm gonna have to do is, I did glue that relatively well. I'm gonna have to bend it. Hopefully it won't tear. There we go. Except I knocked the arm off again. That's okay. So we'll just glue that on. Poor design, in my opinion, GW, but what am I going to do about it? Nothing. Nothing I can do. Okay. Put that in there. Can't line this stuff up a little bit better. So I don't have those gaps. Like that. I'm just going to go ahead and roll with that. We'll do the same thing on here. Don't know if we can. Okay, I did lay over that on that one, so that's good. We gotta get that gap right there, though. That's a problem. I really do like this pelt, though. I mean, it's pretty nice. You know, the way it just lays over like that really makes your Terminator Sergeant or whoever look, you know, your Wolf Guard, whatever, makes them look pretty, you know, regal. Yeah, I really do like it. Oh wait, that's not even on there. Get on there, man. What the heck's going on with you? Same thing didn't happen over here. Nope, we're good. Okay. We'll just go ahead and do them all. That way we know what we're working with. Well, assuming we can get it over the shoulder. That looks good. We have to do anything with this one. Put a little bit in this gap here. That way when we paint it, you won't even notice it. And if you're just tuning in, like it says on the marquee there, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. The likes or dislikes and the comments are what help with the algorithm. Although I guess some of you probably heard that YouTube may be taking away the dislike option, similar to what Facebook did with the voting, you know, the down votes. They took those away. So let's see here. Gotta add some corn potion powder. That's what I'm gonna call it. Alright. Oh man, I forgot that I wanted these two guys to have these specific thunder hammers, so I've got to find their arms too for that. That's okay. We'll find it. Good to go on this. I have no idea if we can get this to work. considering how that pelt is. I'm bending it out and I'm hoping that I'm not going to snap it off. And I'll get this arm in there. Touching the side because of this pelt leg here. Well, the plastic is strong, I'll give it that. Now if I can just get this arm on there, that'll work, because then the pelt will be on top of the shield. I can live with that. Give it some character as well. Yeah, I like that. Let's see what you guys think. See how it's just kind of laying on there. Tilt it out some, the arm I mean, but there, I think that'll work, and then I'll put a little bit of glue down here to bond those two together, which might help ripping the arm off, from ripping off, put it that way. Alright, so now we know what we got to do with this. Let's hope that we can get the same result without snapping this off. I don't know though. That looks a little more fragile. Yep, it was. Alright. Gotta trim this one real quick. Even though you probably won't even see it. Can't help myself. More bend down that. We try to fight to stick it on there. It works. I'm not worried about dropping it down because it's like he's bringing the shield up, maybe. How I'm pretty much looking at it. I'll put a little bit more glue in there, fill that gap in. Same over here. Alright, so those two guys, as far as that's concerned, are done. I'll put these dudes over here. Alright, so we need to start putting these torsos on, and I want to make sure that I don't go crazy and not divide them up like they need to be. Because obviously we don't want them all the same in each squad. This one needs one of those. get all this glue on your fingers, your tactile function is non-existent. My wife says she hates glue on her fingers. 4, and we're missing one here. What's going on here? What's going on? How are we missing an entire Terminator torso now versus what we had before? Okay, interesting. Good thing we have plenty of spare parts. But something still doesn't add up here. One, 2, 3. Yeah, we're missing one full torso. So, and I know it's not on the sprues because we've double checked those. So it must be either, I don't know, it's either in a bits box or a bits bag or something like that. But we've got a couple here that don't seem to even matter. I'm not even sure how we ended up missing one, but we'll find it. Alright, so let's start putting these bad boys together. We also want to make sure we have the varying leg positions for each one. We kind of got mixed up here a little bit. My apologies. There we go. That's what we're looking for. And we need that one. Nope. Okay. These guys, that looks good to go. And these guys. Alright. So, I don't really have any rhyme or reason for this one. I'm just putting them on. And then I give them a little bit of a turn in the direction I think I might want them to be going or looking. Just to vary that up some. And we're going to have plenty of thunder hammers for my Salamander's army, that's for sure. We'll just have to strip them down, get all the Space Wolf stuff off of them. Let's see here. Looks like my needed to delete the white dwarf part on here. I guess we'll test that out and see how it works. Should have changed it right now, hopefully. Alright. And okay, so they're done. Sometimes these Terminator torsos remind me of the Orc Boys torso. I dropped it on the floor at some point. I didn't realize it. 1 second. Nope. It's not on the floor. Alright, so we're gonna have to grab one out of the Space Marine bits box that is massive. Front and back. And you may be asking yourself, well, how are you gonna, make it look like Space Wolves? Trust me, I got plenty of Space Wolf bits to take care of that problem. That's an afterthought. And bits coming out of my eyes, seems like. Put this together. So we have some flashing on here that's trying to stop me from doing it. Took that one and put it on the one that has the most Space Wolf stuff on it anyway, so that'll limit what I have to do to make it tie into the army. If you even notice it. I also got away with not having to put a fourth extra shelf in my DTOF. This army is pretty massive, so short of maybe building one more drop pod or something like that, we've got everything filled up. And we have decided that we're going to put together the Death Watch, the Grey Knights, finish up my custom Sisters of Battle, Assassins, and we're going to put the Skitarii together, and all of them are going to go into the same case, is what I figured. Oops. Might help if I actually have the arms for this, right? Alright, let's see. For a right arm. Not seeing the right arm, and Oh, there's the right arm. So hopefully this will hold on to, let me see here, let me look at the connection, and I don't know, that connection might work. It looks like it goes for something else, but it's got a neat little Space Wolf thing on it, so we're gonna go with it. I think it'll work for 2 of these guys, because only 2 of them need thunder. Well, I take that back, they all need thunder hammers. But these 2 in particular are going to have these special thunder hammers, if you will. I mean, I guess they're special, we'll call it that. So, anyway, let's see. Having a little bit of trouble gluing this on for some reason. So we're gonna have to dry it off from the glue, and then we're gonna have to come back and sand it down. Looks like give it something to grab a hold of. It would be totally easier for me to use the other ones, but then because everybody else is going to have, you know, these thunder hammers, you know, with the tooth on there, it'll be no different than the one with the wolf's head on there. So that's why I'm doing this for the assault guys. So, all right, let's try this again. Let that sit for a second. Come on now. Don't let me down. Have another rocket launcher episode here. Okay, I'll put a tad bit of these guys have anything that goes on them really. We're gonna go ahead and get these storm shields put on. These guys knocked out of the way. Oh, and for the squad that's going in the Space Hulk, they will not be, you know, assault terminators. They'll have, you know, assault cannon, heavy flamer, that kind of stuff. And it would be completely suicidal for them to even attempt to do that. Yeah. I almost wish I'd have put that on those guys. It's too late now. Or rather, I don't feel like bothering with it. There's so much gray now put together. It's kind of crazy. Walking downstairs and seeing all that put together. Alright. Just gonna grab these guys and put theirs on too. I'm gonna put a light touch of glue for the assault cannon guy when I put it on. That way I can take it off later and put magnets in, like I did with the other ones, like this one right here, where we've got his magnet. Oh, and I didn't tell you guys, so once I glued all of this stuff on the assault cannon, I really went back and glued it heavy. I was able to bend it into the position that I wanted. That, well, yeah, it's a little bit off on the side here, like right here. It, in my mind, there would be some kind of servo thing back there that would twist and move with his body. I mean, that's just how I envision it, and also I feel like it works out pretty well, and then everything lined up just great. So those two guys are looking pretty good. I guess the only issue you would have is if you really cared about the angle of the gun up or down or whatever. But again, I'm trying to give some kind of motion, you know, in some regards, because you've got a ton of Marines that are just standing there in the exact same pose, and the best you can do is turn the torso just a little bit or the head a little bit, you know, and that's really what you're limited to. So it is what it is. Let me go ahead and put these on the sergeants here, or Wolf Guard battle leaders, or whatever they're called. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. I do not like that, and that is not going to work. So that's not going to work at all. Did not realize that those arms were going to be tilted in so much. That's crazy. All right. Well, this may be a problem, because I don't recall seeing another arm that wasn't like that. The alternative is we cut the head off of the, you know, one of these other ones, and we just glue that on, which we can do. It's not hard. But I am not seeing an alternative arm. I don't know why they would have made an arm like that that would have went completely across the Terminator's body. That's ridiculous. Well, that looks like what we're going to have to do. So, let's see here. Or we could cut a storm bolter, but I don't want to do that. So we're just going to cut a couple more of these off. And I think what we may do, instead of ruining this, I don't know, is it really ruining it if I cut it off? I don't think so. I don't know, there's a different amount of space between there. Of course, if I do cut it off, I can turn the head around, which is what I really would have enjoyed instead of the way it is right now. Yeah, we'll do that. That convinces me to actually cut it off now. Alright, let's see here. Just gotta find another hammer, which should not be a problem. What do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, because these two are different. Well, we can use these two instead. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. No, that's the same too. Somehow I had more of that. Alright, well, let's do this then. Let's take, I still want these heads, so let's divide this up here. That gives the 4 there that we need. And no, we can't cut the head off of that one. Hold on, I'm sure I've got another one around here. I mean, it's just way too many bits here. I just think we're done. There it is. Oh wait, no, that's the same. Oh, here we go. Got it. I like those wolf teeth anyway. Alright, there we go. I figured we had more. I just can't believe that arm is like, why would they do that? It's ridiculous. That makes no sense to me. Why you would have it coming across, you know, literally coming across the chest, blocking everything. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's cut this head off here. If we can fit our clippers in. It's not looking good. Okay. Set that over there. Square that up. Sand block. Alright. Cut this one off. Double that up. Let's try that first. That would give us a double neck. One going one way, one going the other. It would give us more surface area to glue on. So yeah, cut that off there. Off there. Yeah, that's going to give us a lot more surface area to glue on. Now, of course, you know, it's going to be brittle on this spot, so you're going to have to let it, you know, sit if you decide to do this on yours. But the end result's going to be nice. I don't know why they made the wolf's head pointed towards the Terminator instead of the other way. I mean, I get it, you know, the smashy end is right here, but I mean, in my mind, it's a Thunderhammer, it's a power weapon, so why would it matter? I guess would be my question. So we're gonna barely put the glue on there for now. Try to make sure that's lined up as best we can, and by not cutting off all of that, we ended up giving it a little bit more length. You know, oh yeah, that looks nice. That looks nice. Just what I needed. Okay, this one. This one's gonna need a little more glue. We cut almost the wrong angle. That's okay, we can fix it. If you look real close, it almost looks like an orky weapon. But nobody's gonna be allowed to look close without getting bashed in the head by this thing. You may have to mess around with the angle like I'm doing right now if you don't like the way it looks, but it doesn't take much. And then we're going to let those sit so that they will dry and we don't mess them up. Meanwhile, we're going to turn around and put these guys, their hammers on. And some of these guys have their arm way the heck out there. Kind of like, what is that guy's name? Rockfist, Arjack Rockfist, or whatever the heck his name is. Decent action pose, if I do say so myself. The real question will be, do we have enough room in the cabinet for that kind of posing? It's due to Ultimate Poser. No! Maybe the penance, or the reason I'm having so many problems is this is my penance for forgetting about these guys. Who knows? also found out that there is a local gaming store where I live now, and I guess they were here, nobody knew about it. And so kind of looking forward to going over there. I mean, my wife was kind enough to go over there and check it out for me and see what kind of, you know, models they had available, like GW selection, because they say they're a GW shop, so you know, to check that out. And they've got a pretty decent paint selection, so that'll be nice. I don't have to drive an hour to do that, or possibly even game with anybody. We'll see though how that works out. And when I'll have time to even go. Even though they're not that far away. So these guys all have their arms on them. Just gonna put a little extra glue on there, because eventually I'm gonna have to come back and clean them up some. I do this with all my Marines, or all my models. And I only do it up here because it's easier for me if I do happen to need to pop it off. Slide these bad boys over here. It's looking alright. If we're gentle enough, we can probably get away with trying to attach them. Alright. Well, everybody, thank you for joining me for this hour and 18 minutes. Again, please share the channel, like, and comment afterwards, and we'll see you next time.